Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome all students and professors of the Ludovika community to a new edition of Outlook. This time the program is going to be aired in English because we have a foreign guest. Today we are welcoming to the studio through an internet connection His Excellency, the Ambassador of Portugal, Dr. Jorge Ayres Roza de Oliveira. Sir, you are welcome to the Ludovika community.
Thank you very much.
Ambassador Oliveira is a very experienced and distinguished ambassador who served his country, for example, in New Delhi, in Mexico City, and has experience in bilateral and also multilateral diplomacy. He started his tenure in Budapest roughly a year ago, and certainly he had perhaps other plans than sometimes being at home in home office. Today our topic is the Portuguese Presidency, which is going to be a very challenging period for Portugal because of the pandemic that hit all of us. Therefore, I thought it was a very interesting motto of the Portuguese Presidency that says it's time to deliver. Portugal decided to take three priorities to promote a recovery leveraged by the climate and digital transitions, to implement the European pillar of the social rights of the European Union, and to strengthen Europe's autonomy whilst remaining open to the world. So, sir, I'd like to ask you first about the Portuguese priorities, how you view the possible delivery in this really challenging time, and how you think you can measure success at the end of your tenure.
Jó napot kívánok, Ambassador Brouwer. It's a pleasure to be here, and I thank the National Public Service University for this opportunity to talk about the presidency. We are living very, very difficult times right now. The whole world, Europe especially, and unfortunately my country is going through a peak of the pandemic, which would be an understatement to say that it is dramatic. So we do have a lot of things written on paper about the priorities of our presidency, but I think that, and as you said, it's a time to act, a time to deliver. I think the topmost priorities now is to flatten the curve of the pandemic and to make sure that the distribution of the funds for the recovery of our economies are done in a good manner. That would be a success if both these things could be achieved in a short time. Like you said, we have several fronts in our presidency. There's the economic front, in which we wish to approve the national plans of recovery in tandem with the climate law and the digital services package. But for most, the recovery funds which have been approved and which we hope can be started to be delivered in this semester. We then have a social pillar. We wish to have a social summit in Porto in May, which will bring together social partners, the civil society institutions, in order to guarantee a solid social pillar that may invest in the qualification and innovation and social protection of our populations. We have a third front, which would be the external front, in order to reinforce the strategic autonomy of the European Union, which would culminate also in May in Porto with in a summit with India. So these are three things which we wish to further. But of course, I mean, the went around all of us makes big question marks, especially in the sense of having meetings and summits which are not like our intercommunication today in a virtual manner. So there's a lot of question marks in all this. but we hope that we may achieve most of what we are looking for in this semester. The success of this, of course, would be to flatten the curve and to have our populations as speedily as possible to be vaccinated. That would be a measure of our success. But we wish to put the multilateral financial frameworks in motion in order to finance European projects, national projects of investment and cohesion. We wish to have the approval of the national plans to be financed by the recovery funds. We, of course, want to make the vaccination of our populations as speedy as possible. And we would like also to initiate the conference on the future of Europe, mobilizing the civil society, a conference which, of course, will only have its end during the French presidency in a year's time.
Thank you very much once again. And now I'd like to touch a little bit more upon this social summit question. I read that employment, qualifications, and social protection will be discussed during this summit. Now, the member states are competing against each other for investment, certainly in the field of commerce. So how can they get together to work for a better employment situation, better qualification situation, and certainly to protect the citizens as such?
Well, I think that we lived, and I thank the German presidency because it did close its semester with a golden key, being able to pave the way for everything that we wish to put in motion right now. But to be honest, 2020 was a year of divisions, a year in which Europe did not come together as we would have liked it to. So it would be our priority, and the social aspect of our European lives, so to say, would be an important way to bring us together, to put us in a common goal and on a common path, in order to strengthen the pillar which is necessary in order to give our citizens a reinforced confidence in the European project, and to demonstrate also that only an internal market with a dynamic internal market will strengthen not only our companies, but will create more better jobs, will invest in qualification, will invest in innovation, and most of all, it will invest in social protection.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to turn to international questions. And Portugal always defines herself as a European Union country, a very dedicated European Union country. But you also say that you are Atlantic. And you really have a very strong outlook to the rest of the world. India must be an important partner for Portugal because of Goa, for example, but as an important, really leading world-class country. So how was the choice made that we are going to have an India meeting this presidential term?
Well, first, you talked about transit, about the Atlantic. It is also in the external front our wish to normalize, so to say, the relations with the United States following President Biden's investiture this week. India was Portugal in our presidency in June 2000 that we held the first India-EU summit. And it was really a watershed in the evolution of our relationship. It was actually, the EU was represented by Antonio Guterres, now UN Secretary. 15 annual summits have been held, and the last one was in July last year, but in a virtual format. The European Union is India's largest trading partner, and India is among the 10, it's the 9th or something, largest trading partner with the European Union. It was one of the first countries to develop relations with us. us, European Union, and in 2004 we became strategic partners. If we want to diversify our external front, if we want to create opportunities for our companies, for our commerce, for our students, for our scientists, I think India is certainly a very, very good choice. Our relations have been very high on rhetoric and low on substance, and we need to change that. Of course, so we're expecting the visit of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in May in Porto in order to have finally a summit in which all intervenients are present. And of course, as you know, my Prime Minister, Antonio Costa, he has Indian roots from Goa. So yes, obviously he also has a heart in having a success in this summit.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, you are still in the first half of your tenure in Budapest. The presidency will end in the middle of the year. Hopefully, with the vaccination, we are going to have freer and freer movement, interaction with different communities. I'd like to ask you to deliver a little bit on your plans in Budapest, how you see your role as promoting Portuguese culture, perhaps economic ties between our countries, diplomatic and foreign policy understanding between the two countries. So what would you like to achieve?
Well, my priorities, with or without presidency, my mission here is to strengthen the relations between Hungary and Portugal. We will have also at the end of our presidency, hopefully, we will have the presence of the Portuguese national team here in Budapest. They will be staying at the Margaret Island, and we will play against Hungary on the 15th of June. So I hope that will be a moment in which there will be no diplomatic incidents, but we will leave the stadium in good spirits. I am truly enjoying your country. Magyarul tanulok, meg nem jól beszélek, but I intend to continue to learn my Hungarian. I intend to continue to visit. I have visited not so much outside Budapest. I want to make visits to other important cities that you have. I want to strengthen the economic ties. There are some movements in terms of companies from Portugal interested in Hungary. And that is my plan. My plan is to make our two countries, we are probably the most similar in terms of area and in terms of population in the European Union. We have many similarities. We have more points of contact than many people believe. So I think that I have wonderful years in front of me in order to achieve this. We intend to, we had lots of plans for this presidency to make Portuguese culture a bit more visible. There was supposed to be last Friday an opening concert by a Portuguese classical music quartet. That unfortunately has been postponed. It was postponed until the end of February, and I had the bad news yesterday that it had to be postponed again. So there are many things that we would like to do in the culture that we had planned in the cultural sphere, which unfortunately, due to all this situation, it's not possible. But we hope that this black cloud will disappear, and that we will be able, if not during the semester of our presidency, we will certainly after that make a bit of noise with Portuguese culture here in your country.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to ask you to put an open invitation into your calendar to University of Public Service Ludovika. You are going to be a very welcomed guest at our Ludovika Ambassadors Forum when we can have it. I'd like to thank you for your availability, and I'd like to wish all success to the Portuguese presidency and a really quick recovery from the pandemic for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador. I look forward to meeting you in person very soon. And I wish also to the Hungarian people all the best in these trying times. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Köszönöm szépen. Köszönöm szépen.
Obrigado.